Back in October last year, we speculated about what could be coming to Battlefield 5 in Chapter 6, and since then we've had plenty of new information from DICE and the likes of data miner Temporyal that paint a clearer picture of what exactly to expect. Chapter 5 of course is coming to an end, and as such, Chapter 6 is likely set to release in around about 3 weeks time from now. With a confirmed 3-year life cycle for the game and thus plentiful time to expand into new battles and theaters of war, as it stands right now, while I do think we will eventually get the Eastern Front and Western Front in Battlefield 5, up next for Chapter 6, it looks like we'll be sticking with the Pacific and the Japanese and US factions. So, in today's video, we'll cover the theme and setting of Chapter 6, the Solomon Island map, for which we have received additional details, further possible map locations that could be included in Chapter 6, and a number of yet unreleased weapons that likely will make up part of the Tides of War unlocks for that chapter. I should note, all of this information is either based on what DICE has provided us officially, or what data miners have been able to find in the game files. As regards the theme and setting then, as said, as far as we can tell from data mining, it's going to be once more Pacific focused between the Japanese and US factions. The question really is whether there's going to be a significant naval aspect to Chapter 6 that wasn't present as part of the Pacific in Chapter 5. As Temporyal has pointed out, there are both a few naval and jungle focused skins currently already popping up in the game files for Chapter 6. Examples include the USMCA skin for the Model 37 shotgun and possibly M2, but more notably and more recently, the Megalodon skin that will feature for the SCG-44, MG-42 and MP-40. Also, if you remember, some work on naval combat was actually done all the way back with update 5.0, where additional updates were made to the PT-1 MTB and Elco PT boat, which are of course torpedo attack boats that never released with Chapter 5, but are believed to be earmarked for Chapter 6. Additionally, as previously reported, the amphibious Japanese Kami tank actually includes side-mounted Type 91 torpedoes in its original model. They simply aren't shown as of now in-game. And additionally, a variant of the AGM-0 in the AGM-2N, a float plane version of the Zero, is also found in the game files, or at least references to it, and as such lends support to the idea that DICE may be trying to introduce a few more naval elements to the coming Pacific-focused Chapter 6 to spice things up from the, up to now, relatively land-based orientated combat. Of course, this means the Eastern Front, Western Front, or lesser popular theaters of war that could be explored, such as the Second Sino-Japanese War or the US invasion of Italy, as well as the Winter War between the Axis-supported Finland and Soviet Union, most likely won't be the subject of Chapter 6, but don't lose hopes just yet. Given the extended life cycle of the game, there's plenty of time for DICE to still add those in as we progress through 2020 or 2021. Regarding maps for Chapter 6 then, the only we have confirmed to currently be coming at all for Battlefield 5, whether that is as part of Chapter 5 still or Chapter 6, is the Solomon Islands. First data mined of course months ago, this map was officially confirmed in the Wake Island trailer via a little tease at the end. Now, whether we get this map at the very end of Chapter 5 and thus in just a week or so from now, or as part of Chapter 6, frankly remains relatively unclear. The fact, however, that it was included in the Wake Island trailer would suggest that it is part of the Chapter 5 release. But then again, we only have 2 weeks left in Chapter 5 and have yet to hear anything about the map releasing before Chapter 6. As regards the map itself, however, the teaser shows a part of the map covered by dense jungle and seems very similar, at least in my opinion, to some of the parts of the community map project Operation Outbreak from Battlefield 4. Thanks to some data mining information by the one and only Temporyal, we also have a number of named locations that are on the map, giving us a rough indication of what to expect from it. Despite the initial impressions from the trailer, there does seem to be some ocean and beachfront, with plentiful references made to beach and harbor locations. Further, there seems to be a dense jungle aspect of a map, likely what we saw in the teaser trailer. This is specifically referenced by named locations such as Jungle Base, Jungle Road, Jungle Crossroads, and Jungle River, as well as the Deep Jungle location tag. We have a river and associated village somewhere on the map, a chasm and canyon road, and also some larger structures, including a hidden bunker, command post, forward outpost, and silo construction, as well as a salvage site. All in all, it seems like a plenty varied and interesting map. Besides, however, the teaser in the Wake Island trailer, we also have a few screenshots that seem to relate to Solomon Island from Chapter 5 Tides of War progression and the Armory. Besides the Pacific Palm skins for the BAR and Type 2A, there's also the Tetsu no Ame collection background image, which most likely was not only shot on Solomon Island, but could actually correspond to the salvage site location tag mentioned just a minute ago. Supported game modes according to the data miners include Conquest, Breakthrough, Team Deathmatch and Squad Conquest, and you will find the usual Katana and Flamethrower battle pickups on the map as well. Worth noting is that no further maps have as of now shown up in the game files that seem to relate to Chapter 6. We could see some more of the repurposed 5v5 maps possibly making it into the game, but as of now there's no indication that that will happen. There is, however, a plethora of other possible locations that DICE could choose to make some Pacific themed maps on. Amongst them, of course, is the Battle of Midway, where the Japanese attacked the Aleutian Islands with the aim to divert attention of the US Navy away from their actual target, which was, of course, the Midway Atoll. Thanks to some code cracking from the US though, that never happened, and there was a pretty lengthy battle which ended up with the Japanese retreating and abandoning the attack. Well, in reality this was mostly a naval and air focused engagement. In Battlefield 1942 it also contained an actual physical island where players would land and engage in the usual ground combat. Also, there's the Battle of Saipan, which was another invasion scenario similar to Iwo Jima, which has of course proven relatively popular as part of Chapter 5. The Americans here were trying to capture an island with an airbase within range of the Japanese main islands for strategic reasons, of course. And lastly, who could forget the Battle of Okinawa, one of the largest battles of the war, involving one of the largest amphibious assaults of the Pacific and one of the largest naval battles, which resulted not only in a relatively bad defeat for the Japanese, but also the sinking of some of the most infamous ships of the war, such as the Yamato battleship of the Japanese. Doesn't really get any more iconic than that, if you ask me. Speculation aside, however, more specifically, we still have a series of unreleased weapons that are found in the game files and sometimes even as part of Chapter 4's fated trailer of Non-Deliverance. Amongst the weapons just recently confirmed to be in the works via dog tags that actually ended up showing up in-game are the M3 Infrared Sniper Carbine, which is an M2 carbine modified to accompany the infrared scope. That should be very interesting to see if that ever actually makes it into the game. Then of course we have the M2 Carbine seen in the Chapter 4 trailer, intended initially of course for the competitive game mode, but most likely currently being reworked for Chapter 6 or a future release into the game. This of course is a fully auto-capable weapon with a fire rate of up to 750 rounds per minute. Then we have the legendary Itaka shotgun, which is actually still in production today. The Type 11 LMG, which is a Japanese weapon that actually includes a hopper ammo feed system, which in reality allowed you to reload the gun with clips as you used it. And according to Temporyal, this functionality of constantly reloading or topping up your ammo via clips is actually going to be available via a so-called top-up specialization option for the weapon. Then of course we have the M2 bazooka, again already shown in the Chapter 4 trailer, and the double barrel flare, initially part of once more the 5v5 mode. Despite the dog tags actually showing up recently now in the game, I'm really not sure if DICE is ever going to publish this given just how goofy it really seems. In terms of its in-game functionality, it actually has the option to fire two different flares, with one of them being spotting and the other being a flash flare, functioning very similar to a flashbang. There's also, however, additional weapons that were data mined and never released to Battlefield 5 as it stands right now, and actually relate to the Pacific Theater of War. First amongst them is the M1903 Springfield, but also the M1917 Enfield, of course both American bolt-action rifles. Also there's the Type 44, most likely apparently to come in as a Japanese bolt-action carbine, according to Temporyal. I should also notice a number of melee additions have been found recently in the game files as well, but they don't seem to really relate to any specific theme that DICE is likely to explore anytime soon. That pretty much wraps it up for Chapter 6 and what we know so far may actually be coming. Share your own opinions and suggestions down below. Enjoyed the video, rating would be much appreciated, but with all that being said, I'd like to thank you very much for watching and hope to see you in the next Battlefield 5 video.